In this video, you're going to learn one of the most important things that can catapult your business to a completely different level than where you're at right now, learning about how to set key performance indicators or KPIs for your business, the importance of KPIs, what's the difference between a lead metric and a lag metric. You're going to learn all this in this video, and most importantly, how do you tie bonuses and incentives to key performance indicators in your business so that not just you're excited about key performance indicators, but also your team can get excited about them as well. One of the most important things in business is knowing where you're going to go. Every single year, we start the year and we ask ourselves, how much revenue do we want to do in January, February, March, April, May? And we'll pre-project the next 12 months of the year. We'll use a profit and loss statement projection, and we'll actually pre-plan how much revenue do we want to do for each month of the year. Then, when we work backwards from that Excel spreadsheet that we create, we then ask ourselves what numbers have to be true in order for us to reach that revenue goal. And you can apply this to any area of personal finances or business. Well, let's say that you're in a lead generating business, meaning you generate leads. Those leads turn into sales, and each sale has an average transaction value of sorts. So for example, you want to generate $50,000 per month in January. Your average transaction value is $5,000 per transaction. That means that you need 10 sales in order to make $50,000 in revenue. 10 times 5,000 equals 50,000. Then the question is, what would need to happen in order for you to get 10 sales? Well, we work backwards. Well, we have a 20% conversion rate. So in order to make 10 sales, we would need 50 leads. 50 leads would turn into 10 sales, would turn into $50,000 in revenue. You get the point, right? So by creating a clear financial target for each month of our year, we're then able to back into the number that we need in order to make that revenue goal true, right? And in this case, it would be number of leads generated. Now, what I want to hit on is some of the key principles as it pertains to setting key performance indicators for your business, tying bonuses to them, and then rolling them out and bringing them to life, okay? So once we start with these revenue goals, we back into what are those key numbers. I'll give you some examples of key numbers. For a sales team, obviously an important number is unique consultations attended. Your 3-week average time to close, meaning on 3 weeks, what's your average close rate, your consultation close rate on a 3-week time window? What is your 30-day average client value, your rolling 30-day average client value, so that you can make sure you're not going down in quality of clients in your business? And then how many number of closed sales do you need? Those would be some examples of sales team key performance indicators. Marketing team key performance indicators could be stuff like number of consultation requests booked, number of attended consultation requests, overall cost per consultation in your business, number of pieces of content posted, etc. In, a client experience function, right? Making sure that your clients are happy. It's always important to track Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is basically your clients surveying you on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being they would recommend you happily to a friend. 1 being they wouldn't recommend you to anyone. So that's Net Promoter Score and response rate, right, on those Net Promoter Score surveys. 5-star reviews in the door, video testimonials, client referral introductions made, client calls attended if you do calls with clients every month, right? These are key performance indicators that will allow you to know on the sales function of my business, am I falling behind on my sales numbers? If yes, what is it? Well, when we have key performance indicators, we can identify, oh, well, it's a number of consultations requested problem, or it's a number of consultations shown up for the appointment problem, meaning you're getting a lot of consultation requests, but people aren't showing up for appointments. Okay, that's a different problem. That's a show-up rate problem, right? Or is it an average transaction value problem, which means as you've set big, lofty sales goals, you're starting to allow lower quality clients in your business, right? So we're able to, by having key performance indicators listed out, we're able to do a root cause analysis better on our business and determine exactly what number needs to be improved, and then we can create a strategy to improve those numbers. So that's just some examples of key performance indicators. Now let's talk about what's the difference between lead metrics and lag metrics. A lead metric is something that you get notification of before it's a problem. It's a number that you get notification of in advance of the end number. So while it may feel good to track amount of revenue in the door, that's actually a lag metric, meaning by the time you know that your revenue is behind your goals, it's too late. It's a lag, right? There's a lag to that number. So you want to focus a lot of your time on key performance indicators, on lead metrics, or the contributing factors, those numbers that produce the lag metric. Here's a couple rules I'm going to read you through as we've scaled our business to over 8 figures in revenue in 4 years. This is how we do it. So I'll read you kind of like our internal protocol for key performance indicators. As we attack our quarterly goals, our key performance indicators, KPIs, are the numbers that must be hit in order to reach our annual targets. As we blast off into this year, it is vitally important that every department head and leader in the company is obsessed about hitting our KPIs on a weekly basis and our quarterly goals. So here are the 8 rules of KPIs / lead metrics. Number 1, KPIs are broken down into quarterly, monthly, and weekly targets. It's really important you track KPIs on a weekly, preferably a daily basis, so you can know immediately if you're off track on that number. So if you determine, okay, in order to reach our monthly sales goal, we need this many total number of consultations, break that down to a week and track it on a weekly basis and have someone report on it, right? Break it all the way down to weekly, monthly, and quarterly. Number 2, KPIs are tracked accurately and adjusted weekly based on actual numbers, okay? Once you have all these KPIs set for your business, the worst thing you could ever do is not adjust them, okay? Meaning, if you have like an Excel spreadsheet tracking these numbers, the biggest mistake business owners make with KPIs is they don't log back in, and if they were behind on their numbers, they don't go back in and update their projections to the reality. And the problem with that is then you're not able to create a new projection for the next months so you can reach your annual target. Because if you ended up behind in month 1, that means you're going to have to make up for it in month 2, 3, 4, the following months. So you got to adjust these weekly based on actual numbers. And then also, you got to make sure they're tracked accurately, right? So if you have inaccurate numbers that you're tracking, it throws everything off, right? So you need to ensure that I would recommend that you have fewer numbers that you track, but make sure those fewer numbers are tracked perfectly accurately. And you don't have to do it. If you have a team, you can just delegate it to your team and have them manually report on those numbers every single week. Rule number 3, KPIs are reviewed 3 days a week in morning huddles. Okay? In another video on our channel, we'll show you this, but KPIs are reviewed at least 3 days a week on the morning huddles. Every business should be having a quick morning huddle every single morning with their team to re-steer the ship, right? And in another video, I'll show you this on our channel, but there's a whole process for how do you hold a 15-minute morning huddle on Mondays, 7 minutes Tuesday through Thursday, and then a 15-minute morning huddle on Fridays. You can do this on Zoom or in person. But you always want to be publicly reporting on the key performance indicators 3 days a week in front of the whole company. So everyone is attuned to these numbers, especially those that are on track. You want to celebrate them, and then those that are off track, you want to actually bring that out and proactively ask for the team's feedback on how to solve those problems. The next one I want to hit on is that KPIs are reviewed in every departmental L10 or weekly meeting. So if a key performance indicator is not on track, meaning you wanted to get 50 consultations this month and you only got 20, okay, that needs to be brought up in every weekly meeting that you have with your team. And then IDS means identify, discuss, solve. You want to bring that number that's off track to the forefront. You want to identify the root problem causing that number to be off track. You want to discuss what the real problem is and solutions, and then you want to tie a solution to solving that lead metric or KPI being off track. And it's obviously not assigned unless there's a who and a deadline tied to it. So that's number 4. Number 5 is KPIs are publicly accessible by the whole company at all times. Okay? If you have a team of people, you don't want to secretly track your key performance indicators for yourself. If you're the owner of the company, you want to make them public. And that means it needs to be publicly accessible. So use a tool like Monday.com, like DataBox, a tool where people can log in at any time and see all the numbers of the company in one place so that there's that public accountability. Number 6, KPIs are broken down on an individual level. You want to take the big company key performance indicators and you want to break it down to an individualized basis. This becomes the context and the basis of one-on-one meetings in a high-performance culture. One-on-one meetings are the fuel for accountability. And during a one-on-one meeting, you should always be reviewing. If you're a department head, a manager, if someone reports to you, or you're the leader of a company, you need one-on-ones with everyone on your team. Everyone needs to have a one-on-one in your company. And during those one-on-ones, you review the key numbers that that person is held accountable to on an individualized basis. Now, it's one thing to have big, lofty goals for the whole company. It's another thing to have goals for each individual on your team. So KPIs are broken down to an individual level. That's number 6 rule. And then number 7 rule I already hit on. KPIs are used in one-on-one meetings to direct behavior towards those magic numbers on an individualized basis. And the last rule of all of them is that bonuses are tied to KPIs, which are disclosed during one-on-ones. Bonuses need to be paid out in every company tied to the numbers that matter within the company. So let's say that you determine if 4 renewal calls per week are held, and that contributes to the renewals that you need or upgrades that you need within your business, as a stupid example, then you would want to tie a bonus to that. If someone has 4 renewal calls, right, and they average that throughout an entire quarter, which would be 4 times 12 is 48, right? That'll be 48 renewal calls throughout the quarter. If they hit 48 calls throughout the quarter, they qualify for bonus X. If they hit like 55 renewal calls, they could get X bonus plus 1. And if they hit 60 renewal calls, they could hit X plus 2 bonus, right? So you can create bonuses tied to different levels of KPIs, right? To incentivize above and beyond performance. Now remember this, most of the bonuses should be paid for above and beyond performance. It is a bonus, which means it's in addition to the day-to-day responsibilities of that person, okay? Bonuses are tied to all KPIs on a team and or an individualized level. It's okay to do the same thing on a team level. We create quarterly revenue goals as a company, and we actually every quarter, not every quarter, but some quarters for strategic reasons, we'll pay out a bonus to every single person on the team if the company reaches their overall goal in addition to their individualized bonuses, right? Now, here's some rules of thumb around bonuses that tie into your KPIs. The best way to do it is a percentage of base salary. So let's say the average base salary in your company, and I'm going to use 100,000 because it's an easy number to do math on. But let's say average base salary in your company is $100,000. Well, you should create bonus ranges anywhere from 10 to 30% of that base salary, right? So for example, let's say you decide to pay out bonuses at 10% of the base salary. So that person's getting paid $100,000 in base. That means that 10% of $100,000 would mean that there's a $10,000 annual bonus pool for that person. That means each quarter, 10,000 divided by 4 quarters is a $2,500, $2,500, $2,500, $2,500 available bonus. Now that would be their high level bonus. Then you'd have your mid-level bonus, and then you'd have your low-level bonus, right? And then you could tie that to different levels of KPIs. Easiest way to roll this out is just to start with one bonus tied to one number. And then over time, you can do it how we do it now, which is we have 3 KPIs per person, and we pay out a bonus. So we have their whole like $2,500 available bonus, and then we'll divide that by 3. Let's say they have 3 KPIs they're measured on, and then they'll get a percentage of that bonus based on whether they hit each of the 3 numbers that they're held accountable to. And then we sum that all up, and that becomes their quarterly bonus. Everybody in your company should be tied to a controllable number. I made this mistake a million times. If you're going to pay out bonuses, pay it on a number that people feel they have control over. The team-wide bonuses are for the whole team to come together and solve problems. Really important for culture synergy. But the individual bonuses should be tied to something that people feel they have control over. Very, very important. And the last thing I'll say is that you want to create an executive bonus plan. Even if it's just like for yourself right now, or if you actually have an executive team, you want to create a different bonus plan for an executive team than you do for the rest of the team. Remember, the executive team's goal is to make sure the big, vague, difficult goals are reached. The executives should be held accountable to more complex numbers that require the whole team to perform. And that's why you as a leader, your job is to make sure everyone else hits their key performance indicators, or the executive bonuses don't get paid out. So just sharing some cool ideas there, but the real important thing here is that the KPIs, key performance indicators you create, are tied to lead metrics. Follow these 8 rules, okay? Use them in one-on-ones, break them down to weekly targets, report on them everywhere in the company. Like, just make a stink about these numbers, okay? Choose what are my top 3 to 5 sales KPIs to make sure my sales function is working well. How many calls do I need? What conversion rate do I need? Blah, 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 blah. Marketing numbers, client experience numbers, client happiness numbers, and you will be mind-boggled. You will be shocked to see how much progress you make as a business when those numbers are crystal clear and out in the open. This is the way that you create a high accountability organization, is through the use of key performance indicators. Watch this video again and again and again until you hammer this in, because this has been one of the cheat codes to us doubling or tripling our revenues each year, year over year, for 4 years in a row. And we're just now starting to open the hood on some of these practices. So I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, I like to include our tools bundle at tools.smbteam.com for some of my best business and personal growth tools, and get access to some of the most transformational growth tools I've used in my business and personally to allow for such fast growth in our company. My name's Bill Hauser. Stay great, and I'll see you in the next video.